Arians has a Hall of Fame resume. I mean,
I think so. Yeah.
Here's his problem about getting into the Hall of Fame. Regardless of Jason's good points about having coaches of color and female assistants, first head coach to have female assistants, and also the first coach to have a female intern, as he had in Arizona's training camp. And I mentioned these numbers yesterday. There's only 6 coaches in the history of the NFL who have won Coach of the Year twice and a Super Bowl once. They're Parcells, Belichick, Joe Gibbs. They're all in the Hall of Fame or going. Ditka, who's in the Hall of Fame as a tight end, obviously not as a coach. And Don Shula, as we all know, is HOF. So Arians is in a very rarefied air. And he's the only one on that list to have won Coach of the Year due to his work as an interim as well. The only issue is he has the 1 Super Bowl ring. And there's
as a head coach.
As a head coach, right? But there's coaches like Mike Shanahan's not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Coughlin's not in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Right.
Dan Reeves not in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, there's a bunch of guys who have won it multiple times. Well, Reeves never won one.
Right.
But
in terms of wins, Marty Schottenheimer.
And that's why everybody thought that he would stick around one more year, get one with Brady, one more with his best chance before he retires, win one more with Brady, and then out the door. And he goes with a second Super Bowl ring, and then he's Hall of Fame for sure. And then we got the Kangol and on a bust. You know what I mean? Like that would be in the Hall of Fame. A Kangol would absolutely be on his bust. And so that's part of why it doesn't compute that he walks away. That's why there's all these rumors about Brady insisting he goes. Otherwise, he'll stay retired. Or he retired because he wanted no piece of Arians anymore. And then there was some back and forth of which we know nothing about. And it came back to filter to Arians to say, I want that Tom wants you out. He'll come back. I mean, just think about this. This is what this rumor is purporting happened. That Arians was told by Brady through a proxy of Brady's, through the team, that Tom retired because of you. He's thinking of coming back, but he's not coming back if you're here. And you got to go. Somebody had to tell that to Arians. Was it Brady? Was it somebody in Tampa? Again, this is not reporting. This is full-on conjecture, talking out this rumor that is persistent and may never go away, because the one thing that is very difficult to get past, why would Bruce Arians, with a shot at the Hall of Fame, leave when Brady's back? Why would he do that? If he's healthy and he's ready to go, why would he do that? And his answer was, I don't give an S about the Hall of Fame. What I really care about is Succession. Great show. He didn't mean that. What he meant was he can hand off the reins to his guy and Todd Bowles, and all of his assistants are there forevermore, as opposed to him playing this out. Brady goes, and the Glazer family's like, well, what are we going to do now? And everyone gets blown out, just like happened in Arizona. He does not want to do that, and he would rather walk away now and be a senior football consultant. And people still can't get past the fact that he had a chance to win with Brady. Brady comes back, and he says, I'm out. And the rumor that this has been, it won't go away. It's persistent. It won't stop. Again, I don't believe it, because, again, it means Brady communicated to the Bucs he's got to go. And somebody communicated to Arians, you have to go. Or Arians is like, all right, I was going to kind of leave anyway, and you got to hire my guy. And there's a bunch of quid pro quo going on that we don't know about that makes us now believe he would walk away with Brady coming back and not pay attention to any of the other stuff that Arians has said. And Jason Light came on this program and said, and on top of it, don't believe anything that Tom Brady is saying either. think about this, Chris. This rumor, which is, bordering on vicious.
There's a lot of levels to it.
Okay, bordering on, because you got to talk it out. Everyone keeps saying this has definitely got to happen. It's definitely had to have happened. Talk it out. Tom Brady would have had to have made this decision, then rethought it, delivered the ultimatum that the Bucs then cashed in to cash Arians out. Okay. Brady would have had to have done all that and then put out not only an Instagram love letter to Arians, and you could sit there and say, well, I mean, his people did it, and he's just said, go ahead and send it. So you didn't really have to think too hard about how two-faced this really is. But on top of it, if people out there are to believe this rumor, that Brady would have done all of this and then shown up at Arians' farewell press conference in a front row seat. In a front row seat. Think about how sociopathic that is. Think about it. He would have had to have disliked this man so much that he's walking away from a sport that he loves so much at the top of a game that we've never seen anybody his age ever do, with more opportunities for him to win one more, which he desperately wants, because I shouldn't say desperately, that he truly wants, because that's how he's wired. He steps away from it and then lets it be known he would come back under certain circumstances. What are those circumstances, Tom? Arians has to go. I'm not playing for that guy anymore. He's red penciling all this stuff that me and Leftwich are cooking up. I just can't hear him anymore. That's just not the way I want to do it anymore. You want me back? This is what needs to happen. You got to get Bruce out. But Bruce has got to go, but I'll still have every one of his other people around. I'm fine with that. But Bruce has got to go. Okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to play this whole thing out. Okay? We'll just take our time. So I'll come back middle of March, and then Bruce goes 2 weeks later and comes up with this whole succession thing. I don't think Brady, even in his sociopathy that's being placed in front of everybody that this would clearly require, I don't even think he'd be part of, you just come up with whatever your cover story is. Mine will be an Instagram post, and I'll show up at his press conference. Hug him out. Yeah, I don't think that's the case. I'm going in the opposite direction. I'll go in the opposite direction.
It's a Chuck Rhodes level.
Dude, it's an axe level. Like sociopathic.
Also, Rich,
it's not just Chuck Rhodes just is blinded by his own ambition or his own belief in himself. He believes his own BS, Axe is just a sociopath. He's just going to do it just to do it, and not really care and act a certain way so people think he's a good guy.
Good guy.
But when it comes down to it, he just wants to win and just, really, Brady's going to do all that and then show up at the press conference in a front row seat?
Yeah, the ultimate cover.
Oh, my gosh.
Again,
it's a little bit too much.
A little bit. There's one too many steps. Only one too many.
No,
levels.
but these are the steps that everyone's. And by the way, part of this conspiracy theory that got debunked by Jason Light yesterday was he flew all the way to Manchester United to hatch plans at Old Trafford because that's the Glazers team, because they have to do it under the cover of Premier League action, not just do it over the phone or over a Zoom or in a meeting. He's got to actually fly all the way over to London and hatch a plan, and then once you get the green light from the Glazers,
go time
by the side of the pitch, now we're cleared to just come back, right? And Jason Light's like, yeah, the Glazers weren't even there. He had planned that weeks before.
Go take a picture with one of the most famous athletes on the planet so everyone knows that you're there.
Or his son wanted to meet the most famous player on the planet.
Asking him if he's coming back, and Brady's like,
ridiculous, man.
All right. It's
unlikely that Brady. That's what I'm saying. You have to talk it all out. Everybody's like, oh, Brady wanted him out, so now he's out. Well, you just have to
connect the dots.
Well, not just collect the dots.
You got to
The
come up with a
pieces
whole,
have to move.
Yeah.
This move gets made. That move gets made. Come on.
All right, Brady could have still wanted him out and maybe not had a hand in it.
Okay, but if that was the case,
do you think Tom is happier today that Bruce is gone or unhappy?
I don't know. Does it even matter anymore?
Why would? Here's a
He's
question:
back.
though. Would Tom have said, "Look, I'm going to retire unless you get rid of Bruce"? If that were the case, if he wanted him out, instead of going through the whole retirement thing, why wouldn't he just say, "Get rid of him, or I'm not coming back"?
Here's the deal. You just have to sometimes look for every conspiracy theory, even in these crazy ass ones you see in our political world.
There's a lot of
Talk them out. Talk them out. For these things to actually be real, 15 pieces have to move behind the scenes for it to be real, and each one of them is beyond the pale impossible or improbable. And I think this is another one of the cases. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.